Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long. With me has always been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jake Galoth. How you doing today, Jacob? Doing good?
I am swell, Charles, and I have a somewhat exciting pitch for you today.
I'm so excited.
I'd say it's a 6 out of 10 on the exciting scale, which is high. You know, it's not.
That's so
low.
No, it's high.
A passing
it's too
grade.
high, if anything. You're gonna give someone a heart attack with how exciting that is.
Yeah.
I think we should start naming more shows after songs, because apparently that helps the algorithm. So do you have a song title for this one?
That's kind of ironic because this is actually named after a song, but I did just cut off the end of it. But it's also named after the base on the moon, because the song is named after that. The pitch is called Tranquility Base. Basically, I was in Philadelphia over the weekend.
Ooh,
and
in Philadelphia.
I was visiting a friend, and we went to a used bookstore.
Ooh.
And I was having fun. In the like, they had a huge catalog of like really old shitty sci-fi books.
Yes,
and I would just open them up, read the last page, and just kind of guess what happened. And I might do this with some other pitches, because I feel like this is a fun idea. But essentially, this pitch is what I think that book was about. From reading the last page and looking at the cover. I don't even remember what the title was, unfortunately.
The title of the book, I think it was the right author.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it was basically like this dude on the cover sitting like casually in a chair. Kind of looks like James Bond. And he's like sipping a coffee. And he just looks like as calm as can be. And there's like a giant lizard monster like right up against his face. And but he doesn't, clearly this monster is threatening him. But he's just cool and collected.
He doesn't care, dude. He doesn't care.
So, without further ado, this is Tranquility Base.
Tranquility
Base. It
Base.
is a TV show set in a space hotel, or I guess it's a space station on the moon where, if you go to a airport, right? They usually have a built-in hotel attached to it.
Yes, I have been. I've stayed in some of those hotels.
So, if you're in space and you have a layover, you can't, there's no going into the city. There's no...
Yeah,
there's nothing. You're staying in the space hotel. And in this case, they're staying on the moon, like a little moon hotel. That's where the whole show's going to take place. So, probably a mini-series, by the way, maybe 6 episodes.
6 episodes, hour-long episodes, BBC style.
I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, 35. Definitely longer than normal, but maybe not an hour. 40 is probably
longer than 22 minutes. Yeah, longer than the 22. You got it.
Anyway,
44.
So our first character, his name is Olivier Villot. So that's, it's a little hard to say.
Olivier.
Say it out. Olivier Villot.
Olivier Villot.
He's well, actually, I have to be careful here because I've written some things on here that I can't mention yet. About
because he might. It's spoilers.
So he's very smooth. He's restrained, 50s kind of man. So basically, also I should explain is that this whole world is like space, but if it was like the mid to late 60s.
Okay.
Yep.
All
so
right.
Like,
so
it's
like
how the mid to late 60s imagined sci-fi to be.
I'm imagining like very like much like a 50s pulp stuff. Like you kind of get the very smooth things, very smooth. Everything's rounded. I'm thinking kind of cross between like a Fallout almost sort of design of like that sci-fi stuff, like Flash Gordon style, and Prey 2017. You remember that game? Did you play that game?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea I'm thinking of. if that's close.
Yes, that fits right. And people kind of like talk in that sort of, in that, the 60s kind of way where it's not quite the 70s. You're not like as freaky as the 70s, but you're no longer as strict and restrained as the 50s, I would say.
Yeah.
So Verlo, as I said, smooth and restrained. He's more the 50s kind of on that scale of of the 60s. He's closer to that side. He's a little bit James Bondish. He's good with women. He doesn't stumble over his words. He says what he means. He says the clever thing every time.
He's smart. He's sexy. He's suave.
Yeah, he's smooth. But he kind of keeps to himself. He's a quiet, sort of individualistic person. And he claims to be a financial analyst. I'm going to be saying claims to be for a lot of people. Next, we have the station's AI, which is Wallax, Wallax. This is the station's AI manager. It is very polite. It's an old model that's made to be very personal. So it's going to be mentioned that like AI now in this world is basically just does the job and that's it. Now this one was made, or like they'll say it was made in a time period that was they wanted the AI to be a little spunky. They would to have a conversation with like this. And this AI model was made to be like was modeled after like an old bartender. And the idea is that he's like anybody can talk to him. He's can give good advice.
Relaxed, witty, funny.
He's like constantly cleaning a glass, even though he's just a projection. Like you'll
yeah.
He's always behind the bar, but he's not always.
Yeah, and he's not even real. The glass in his hand isn't even real, unless you could make it a hard light thing. So he's a hard light hologram that can pick up the glass. Yeah,
but he's just a projection.
All right.
And I should mention as well is that since he's an older model, he's limited, and he can only, when he's projected into a room, he only can see in that room. So it's not like he's omnipotent AI that can see everything, every camera. You see his hologram, he's only in that room.
Okay. I think I get it.
Next, we have Serena Manu. She is late 20s, early 30s. Very, very quiet. A wealthy woman, clearly, but not not sort of grotesquely wealthy, but like it's clear that she's got some money. You can just tell by looking at her. She's not dressed in the simplest of clothes, but nothing too crazy. Keeps very to herself. Not shy, just like does not want to talk to anyone really. But she can't help make sort of snarky jokes in a situation. So if everyone's in a room and somebody, she's sitting in the back, and if somebody says something that's wrong or silly, she'll make a joke to herself or, for the people around her. But she doesn't really care about the people around her hearing it. She's just saying it because it's funny and she has to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's got kind of a compulsion, you could say.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs, plus their kids. So it's just a sort of a basic middle-aged family with very obnoxious children. The classic. Of
course.
Mom's constantly stressed. Dad's annoyed at everything. They fight about every little thing possible. Next we have Gregory Signs. What'd you say?
Just like you and me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're an old married couple.
That's what I modeled off of us. Yes. Gregory Signs. He is a mechanic. He's very, very annoyed by everything. Every little inconvenience bothers Gregory Signs. He's got a bad temper, so it's like to a aggressive extent. Shouts frequently. Then we have Millicent Ports. Millicent Ports is a heavy drinking socialite. There's a lot of characters. I apologize. And she.
How dare you?
Oh, sorry. She's a very wealthy person, and finding out that she has to wait in this hotel is not going to be. That's not something her class is accustomed to. Then we have Charles Burnman, and he's a grovelly executive. He's a businessman through and through, and he's got this big black briefcase, which he keeps it's not handcuffed to him, but it is essentially handcuffed to him because he's got a steel grip on it at all times. A few more. We're almost done here. Detective Hugo Fulcring. Imagine Harvey Bullock, but in space. That's Detective Hugo Fulcring.
He's in space. He's smoking big cigars, big space cigars.
Harvey Bullock is a detective from Batman. He's a little sleazy guy. So he's
he's not a bad guy, but he's got a little bit of sleaze to him.
He's got a little bit of an edge to him,
Yeah.
He even might take a bribe if it's a little thing.
Yeah. He doesn't care. He doesn't like Batman, but he loves Commissioner Gordon. He wants to give Commissioner Gordon a big kiss right on his mustache.
Then we have Gertrude. Right? Gertrude's a very old woman who's traveling to see her son. And then we have Marco. Marco is the whole reason our protagonist, Olivier Rouleau, is traveling in the first place. Marco is his old high school friend that he's heading out to meet.
Yeah. Okay.
So, those are our characters. I know you've forgotten their names, but I will remind you as we get into the pilot here.
Yeah.
So, back to Mr. Rouleau, Olivier Rouleau. We open with him riding up a giant space elevator. Some of the other characters are in this as well. This is a big, huge
Earth
platform that's going up. Moon. A lot of people, there's seats. This is essentially like the subway, except it goes up.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's wide rather than long.
Earth to moon style? Or is it
well, it's not that far. It's Earth to the edge of the atmosphere.
Okay, Earth to a space station that you would then launch to. Okay.
Yes.
It's like taking a ferry to an island to get on a boat.
Ferry to an island to get on a boat. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get more of that in a second. So he rides up the space elevator to a great big airport, essentially, that's kind of floating in the atmosphere. And he embarks and he sits next to Serena Manu, who is very quiet and doesn't really want to talk to him at first, but they get along over time. She can't help make her jokes, and he's smooth, so he's always gonna get into a conversation with anyone who's with him.
He's hanging out.
So and on other parts of this space plane, you're gonna hear the other characters so loudly. The Hobbs are gonna be complaining, and a man's gonna pass with a briefcase. That's Charles Burnman, the businessman, and Serena, ever so slightly, just as she's talking to Olivier, is just gonna glance over at the briefcase, and our main character Rouleau is gonna notice that, but just go on. It's why wouldn't you look at the random briefcase that passes by?
Pretend that you didn't see it.
So the flight is mostly empty though, so it's a couple of characters here, and the plane itself is mostly there's not a whole lot in it, and so they go off on they fly over to the moon's smallest transportation hub, or the transfer station or hub. So this is why the plane is mostly empty. So instead of going to in London examples, instead of going to Heathrow, you're going to Gatwick. Instead of going to
okay, so it's just a smaller airport?
Yeah, essentially. I'm trying to think of a small airport in Maryland besides BWI. It's the big one.
BWI, Dulles. Those are the only
Dulles
two I can think of.
Big.
Yeah.
JFK
Dulles,
is in DC. That's big too.
JFK.
No, that's Reagan. Sorry, JFK's in New York.
In New York. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
We don't need to talk about the logistics
big airport,
of
smaller airport. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Not many people go out here if they don't have to.
You've all been in airports.
And this is Tranquility Base.
Ooh.
So they arrive to find the station is a massive relic and is almost completely empty. They miss their connection to Mars, and so now they have to wait another day before the next flight. So everyone's really pissed off because they're trying to argue with the gate agent, but there isn't. It's just an AI, not the AI. It's a different AI.
Yeah.
And it's well, sorry, we can't help you right now. Next flight. It's a very, there's not, it's just an automated message. It's not like, it's not something you could ask a lot of questions to just replays the thing over and over again. So like, okay, everyone's pissed off. The Hobbs family's, all yelling and screaming. But Verlo, he's like, whatever. He goes over to the hotel. He's very chill. And he sees Marco, who fortunately, instead of taking the flight to Mars, because they were supposed to meet here at this place and then group up for the flight to Mars together, Marco waited for him, and so he's already at the bar. And so they reunite, get a hug. They, can sit down, have a couple of drinks together. People are still arguing, trying to, see if they can get an earlier flight somehow, but there is no flights. The only flight that's coming out of here is tomorrow to Mars, and there's no more flights coming in. So they all have to wait, and they're given complimentary rooms. So this airport is so small, so tiny that it only has the 1 or 2 flights in every once in a while, because most flights come out of the main hub on the moon. Anyway, so they all have their complimentary rooms at this hotel. Wallach's the hotel AI, and sort of the station manager, introduces himself at the bar as Marco is drinking with our main character Olivier Verlo, and he gets to know the AI a little bit better when Marco goes to the bathroom, and they sort of become kind of friends, as much friends as you can become with an AI.
Yeah, fast pals. Maybe they're both. Maybe we could have a thing where the AI is from an area, right? And you could even make it so that the AI was programmed to think it's oh, I'm from Connecticut, or you could actually have the AI be built in Connecticut and, quotation marks, obviously raised in Connecticut, and that maybe they have something in common that they bond over, just to give us a connection between the two of them that makes them fast pals.
They were both. He was made in Chicago, and they're both Cubs fans.
They are both Cubs fans.
This is a really old hotel, and the only TV they have plays baseball, and so this AI watches the Cubs, because he was made in Chicago.
Well, it depends on how, because you can obviously make it a more or less decrepit sort of future. But I think it would be pretty funny in a horrible, fucked up kind of way if the TV is stuck on one Cubs game that was played in 1973. They played a Cubs game, and that's the only signal that this TV gets. And so this AI for the past 10 or 20 years or whatever has been watching the same exact Cubs game. And so he's a massive Cubs fan, but he only knows about this one game.
What if?
Okay, I think that could be fun.
I like that as well, but just another idea that also could work is that it could be because signals. I don't know actually how it would work, but you could have it. It's his TV's on a 5-year delay.
Okay, yeah.
So he has all the games from 5 years ago. Could be. So he's don't tell me what's going on right now. I don't want to know. Just we can talk about Cubs baseball from 5 years ago. That's it.
Yeah. He's oh man, can you believe the Cubbies won the World Series? And it's the Cubs won the World Series 5 years ago. What are you talking? Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. It was an incredible game. Wait, are you? And that's when we then explain that to the audience.
Yeah.
Silly. Explain that fun little thing.
So, we meet the AI. AI's cool. Verlo, he tries to chat with Serena again, but it doesn't go as well, and she's very interested in Burnham now. Charles Burnham, the guy with the briefcase now, and she's chatting him up, which is strange because before she seemed very, off, doesn't want to talk to anyone, and now she's all with this Burnham guy. She seems like a completely different person as well now that she's talking with him. So, we get to experience more of everyone's got free bar coupons for the first night as well from the flight, or from the travel agency, or the airline or whatever. And so, everyone's at the bar. And so he chats with Gertrude, who he learns is, she's coming to see her son, who lives on Mars. He talks with Mr. Hobbs, who just complains about his family the whole time. Talks with Gregory Sines a little bit, who he's just getting annoyed with every little thing. The coffee pot isn't, it's not like hooked up right. And then, the beer tap isn't quite like this. And then in the bathroom,
it's not cold enough. Yeah, just complaining to complain.
And then we have
there's nothing better to do.
Fulkring, Detective Fulkring, who immediately spends he's one of those people that just talks and talks and talks. Like, hey, you're not even part of the conversation, really. And he's just going from story to story to story about how great he is of a detective. And then we have Porch, the socialite. She's drinking. She thinks she's the best. She's upset that she's there. But she sort of likes Verlo because he seems more classy than some of the other people.
Yeah. It's got an air of mystery to him.
So we get, this is the first episode. We get a nice big intro to all the characters. Everybody's drinking, having fun. And it seems to almost feel like everyone's not as annoyed now. They're not as bothered that they have to wait until tomorrow because it's only tomorrow now, and they got drunk. They ate, they're having, it's just one sleep away. It's no longer doesn't seem like as much of a pain. What's so bad spending one night in this hotel?
Yeah, one night, it's not that big a deal. Whatever.
They all go to bed. The next day, they learn the flight has been delayed a week. And they'll have to stay at the hotel.
Oh, that sucks.
No flight is coming in. There's nothing they can do. They have to wait until the flight. So the flight that they're waiting for is going to come from Mars to them. Then it's going to... then it has to go back to Earth to refuel, and then it's going to come get them, and then they're going to fly. So even when the flight comes and more people get dropped off, they're not even going to get to go. And that's not going to happen for another week. So it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah,
it sounds like it.
Everyone is annoyed. We're getting near the end of the episode here, and tensions are getting higher. They no more free drink coupons. It's just not a good time. And meanwhile, Verlo can't find Marco. And he's going to spend a lot of the second half of this episode just looking around the hotel, also dealing with, everyone's upset now and seeing more sides of people from yesterday. So, everyone that seemed kind of happy is now just a mess, and everyone's upset and wandering around this weird hotel.
And the people who were unhappy are even worse.
And the way the episode ends is Verlo... Finally, he's like, I can't find Marco. He wasn't at the gate. He wasn't, I thought maybe he'd be at the pool or something. He's not in the gym. I've gone everywhere, all over this hotel. I guess I haven't checked his room. He goes to Marco's room, and Marco has been torn to absolute pieces. He's been, split open from the inside. And, fall, picture, like a butterfly's cocoon, essentially.
Ugh.
It's like something grabbed him and just split him like a banana.
Split him right down the middle.
Peeled him open like a banana. So not good.
Gross. Not good for Marco. Not good. Not good for Marco. Not good for anybody, seems like.
No. And so where this show is going from there is that we're going full... And then there were none, or, any sort of detective drama where they're all locked in one place together.
Of course. A Murder on the Orient Express, sort of a vibe.
And so to start off, Detective Fulkring is going to be taking control of the situation because he's a detective. But it's not, he doesn't really want to be in charge of this. We're in episode 2 now, by the way. I'm just going to sort of go through the plot generally, and then I'll get to the last episode. So Detective Fulkring is going to be, he's the guy, Hugo Fulkring. He doesn't really want to be the guy. He's kind of reluctant. He's not immediately taking the situation by, the reins. Mr. Hobbs is like, but you're a detective, you do something. And Gregory Sines is like, yeah. Millicent Ports is like, yes, the detective, protect us. And she's hiding behind him. he's reluctant, but he's like, okay, sure, right, we can do this. And so he doesn't seem very confident, or doesn't seem really like he knows what he's doing in this situation, despite all of his big talk earlier at the bar. It kind of seems like to the audience that this guy might not be as good at his job as he was saying he was, and now that he's confronted with a tough situation, he's like, fuck, now I actually have to figure shit out.
Now I have to try and do my job. Yeah, okay.
Our main character, Verlo, is kind of taking the back seat here, but he's not. I mean, his friend's dead, so he's kind of looking around independently as well.
Yeah, as you would. If you were murdered in a space hotel, I would do an independent investigation.
Yes.
So, and I hope you would do the same for me.
Yes. Sure. Maybe.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
I was so sure you're gonna be like, I'd probably just let the shitty cop handle it. I'd let Paul Bart, moral cop, figure it out.
Well, if he was Detective Hugo Fulkring, I wouldn't, because we'll get into it. The first guy that lands suspicion in the second episode is Gregory Sines. So as we go throughout here, Gregory Sines is going to be the only person that's really not with everyone else while they're going around. He's the only one that didn't have an alibi in the morning. And all suspicion is going to be on Mr. Sines by the end of this episode. And as they're finally interrogating him, they lock him in a room and they're going through his stuff, and they find all this paperwork and all these like devices, and they're like, surely this is the guy, this is the dude. He's like screaming in the other room, like, let me out of here, let me out. And they're going through his stuff, and they find like a work order and like a statement from the company that owns this station, and apparently he's here to reset the rogue AI that is in charge of the station, which obviously prompts some confusion. And then suddenly the screams of Gregory turn from "Get me the fuck out of here, you assholes" to "I'm fucking dying." And
oh my god, help, I'm being murdered.
And they open the room, and Gregory Sines has just been torn to pieces. Not in the same way Marco was. He doesn't look like he's been banana peeled, but it's like he's been blendered, kind of. Okay. And it is disgusting. Fulkring's the first one to open the door, and he just vomits immediately and shuts it. Verlo will like take a peek and, look in, and clearly he's disgusted by the sight, but he's not, he's cool, calm, and collected. He's smooth, restrained. James Bond. He's not going to vomit.
Yeah. He doesn't vom.
So, if you couldn't tell, Gregory Sines didn't do it, because he's fucking dead.
I figured it was a very elaborate, fake out.
So, where we're going from here now is, suspicion is next going to fall on, obviously, Walex, the AI, because Gregory's supposed to shut down the rogue AI, so maybe they're now all getting killed by rogue AI, like 2001: Space Odyssey style, or any movie that's done that.
Any movie with an AI in it.
And so, people are all the people in this hotel are now going full like smash the machine sort of mode. And they're trying to break into the main computer to destroy Walex. Verlo is the only one who's sort of doesn't want to kill the AI. And in this next episode where they're going to try to destroy the AI, Verlo is going to have the only realization that it could not be Walex. Walex could not have been the one that killed Gregory, because first off, while he is, the controlling AI, he has no access to any sort of anything that could have done that. He can make a drink. He can, automatically set your bed sheets, but there's nothing he has where he can send a robot around that would, do that, would be able to do that. And also, he was in the room with them, and as I said earlier, he can only see
what he's in the room with.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, like, even when he's trying to, like, you know, even when he's gonna, like, make your bed and stuff, he has to be projected in that room to activate stuff in that room. Like, each room is independent, like its own little compartment, and he has to switch from each one to the other one. So he, you know, it couldn't have been him.
Couldn't have been.
Of course, though, they finally break into the server control room, and as soon as they do, the only person that falls in is Mr. Hobbs, who is then locked in there because the door shuts, like, almost immediately. And Olivier is like, you know, oh, open the door. We got to get Hobbs out of there. You know, he's not going to destroy you. We have to get him out of the room. And Wallach is like, I don't have control of that room for some reason. I can't switch in there. I don't know what's going on. And all the lights go out for a second, and then Wallach disappears. And then the lights come back on. Just before the lights come back on, we hear horrific screams. The lights come back on. The door opens. Mr. Hobbs is torn to absolute pieces, just like
cocooned
Gregory
again.
Signs.
Just like the other guy.
No, it's not the same way.
Guys,
it's like blendered as opposed to the banana peel.
Okay. All right. That makes me think that. Because can I tell you what I think may be going on?
What's that?
I'm sure I'm not right. I think the first guy who got murdered, the way you described it, made it seem like maybe something burst out of him, right? Like he was infected with some sort of living weapon of some description that escaped his physiology. And so he was after the guy with the suitcase because the guy with the suitcase has information about this, you know, creature that he was infected with. But then you were talking about the AI and like there was a room that they had to get into and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking maybe there's a guy living on the space station. Like maybe there's a dude who like is like living in the walls of the space station, like kind of Ratman in Portal sort of vibe, you know? Like,
yeah.
Because maybe Wallach's is obviously he's kind of portrayed as being pretty benevolent and kind and not really being malicious at all throughout the show. And I think it would be a cool twist ending if like this regular guy was accidentally left in the airport for an unknown amount of time, and Wallach's programming meant that he had to hunt this dude down. So this guy has just spent the last like 10 years running and hiding from the robots that run this facility because he, you know, is a trespasser or something. You know, one of those sort of like in Fallout, the robots will be like, if you do not leave this building, you know, trespassers will be shot. You need to present your employee, ID number. And it's like the employees all died 200 years ago. But the robots don't know that or care. That's kind of where I thought it was going, but I'm also not thinking that I'm right at all.
Well, it's not that. Or it could be. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. Well, it's not. But we'll explain.
We'll explain.
I will. Anyway.
I believe in you. I think it'll be even better than my thing that I said. The third guy just got blendered.
Oh, yes.
In the computer room.
Yes. Okay, so, what's his name? Hobbs is dead. Hobbs very much dead. Mm-hmm. What's kind of weird, though, is that his family doesn't really... They're kind of, what's the saying? Like the lady doth protest too much or something like that?
Yeah.
Is it like this thing?
You doth protest.
Essentially, they're overly emphatic with their sadness for their dad, who they seem to have hated all until now, and it just seems off. And we're gonna start realizing, and also his room is gonna be picked apart immediately after this, and so that puts more suspicion on, like, you know, okay, who did that? Who's going through his room now? Is this part of the thing? And as they're, you know, investigating, they'll learn that the kids fucking went through his room, and the mom did too. And we're going to learn that this family is all just a family of, like, charlatans. They're, like, just a bunch of scammers. And the dad was just one of the scammers. And so now they're stealing his stuff because he's out of the game, you know. But as like, they're you know, Falkring is, like, you know, looking into this family and, like, trying to find them because they're running away now. Because people are starting to, like, you know, figure out what they're like, who they are. And they're nervous because it's a cop who, you know, they'll realize that, you know, they're not necessarily good people. And they're wanted for something as well. And when by the end of that episode, well, you know, obviously they're going to die too. A lot of people are going to die
obviously.
Here.
I figured most, if not every human character would die.
Yeah, so I'll start running through it now. So they're going to die. Millicent Ports is going to die. The old lady Gertrude, she's going to be one of the last ones to die. Basically, every episode, somebody dies. There'll be a couple deaths in some episodes. Charles Burnman is going to be one of the last ones to go. And this will, after his death, it's going to throw like sort of suspicion on Serena Maynew. And this is when they realize that, like, somebody has been after this, you know, briefcase. And it wasn't just her. Also, Millicent Ports, before she died, was after it as well. Millicent Ports we'll learn is actually completely broke, has no money at all, and has been, like, because she got cut off by her parents, and so she's been trying to steal these corporate blueprints from Mr. Charles Burnman here, because he works with her dad, and so that's her inside information on how she knows. Like, she saw her dad's computer and saw that, like, you know, this Charles Burnman guy's got something valuable.
Okay. So she was... Yeah, okay. I get
But she's dead now, so you know that she couldn't have done it, right? Charles Burnman still has the briefcase. He dies. So now we've got his dead hand still tightened on the briefcase. I think his hand's going to get severed, so he's still holding it, you know? And no one's ever going to be able to take it off. That hand is clutched hard on that briefcase.
I was going to say that definitely had to be his part of his death, is that his entire body has been liquidized, but maybe it's his hand, maybe it's both hands, maybe it's his arms. I'm thinking maybe he had the briefcase and he, like, grabbed it with both arms and held it tight against his chest. Yeah. And then everything else, like all of his legs, his back, his head, everything was ripped apart, but his torso and his arms are still so tightly clenched around the briefcase that you have to get, like, three men with, like, a crowbar to peel it away from him.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, the hand's still clutched on and they just can't get it off. Some fun imagery like that.
I forgot to also mention Gertrude when I said that she died. Everyone's got something about them. You probably noticed. Gregory Sines was supposed to reset the station. Millicent Ports is secretly broke. Charles Burnman's got these stolen corporate blueprints. Gertrude, she's actually coming to see her son, as I said, but her son was Mr. Hobbs, who's now fucking dead, who is a scammer.
Yeah. I was going to assume her son was, like, some sort of crime.
Will reveal that she's a thief, right? She sees where this is going. She's like, I was here to steal those documents, because it's just her, Detective Hugo Fulkring, Olivia Vallot, and Wallach left here. She's like, I see where this is going, all right? It was not me. I am a thief. I was here to steal those documents, but, like, I didn't kill anyone. Fulkring is not taking that well. He thinks it was her.
Of course not.
Verlo is more suspicious. He doesn't know who it is, and he's starting to think it's not. He's like, there must be someone that's still alive. Like, maybe it's none of us. He's not certain. But he is not completely sure that Serena is not it. And so this is where we go kind of like full Shining, where like Jack Nicholson, axe-murdering man, is Detective Hugo Fulkring, who's not evil, but, like, he's trying to kill Serena because he thinks that she's the person that's killing everyone. And Verlo is not he's not sure. He's not certain enough, so he doesn't want Serena to die. And so he helps her because, he's about to, what's his name? There's like an elevator in the building, and she's trapped in the elevator, and Mr. Hugo Fulkring's going to be cutting the fucking wires on it so that she's going to fall. And there's like artificial gravity, so she's going to get killed by artificial gravity inside the hotel, which is kind of a lame way to go. But just as the last cable gets cut, the elevator door opens, and Verlo's going to grab her and pull her into the floor that he's at, because it's like one floor below. And the elevator is going to go flying down. And he pulls her in. She's like, why'd you save me? He's like, I'm not sure yet. I don't think you did it, but even if you did, like, I don't feel like you would have killed all these people. Maybe you're just after Burnman or whatever, but there's something else going on here. And she's like, do you think it was Fulkring or something? Like, neither of them are very certain on who it could be. Serena, I should clarify, she's more certain it's Fulkring, because he's the guy running around with an axe, trying to kill her. And as they're discussing this, as they're arguing, the body of Mr. Hugo Fulkring flops down the elevator. And they both look at each other. And right next to them as well was Wallach the whole time, talking with them as well. So they're like, okay, you're right next to me. Wallach is here.
Okay.
It's none of us.
So none of us are the killer. It has to be a third party on the station that none of us know is here.
Yes.
So I'm going to guess either an alien, serial killer, or some sort of robot.
So after Fulkring dies, obviously they realize the killer is none of them. And we sort of go into an alien-style finale, where this is the first time we're going to see the monster, which is this giant, ugly, terrible lizard thing, like the cover of the novel that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So it's going to eventually end with Serena going outside in a suit. There's only one spacesuit for spacewalks around the station for repairs. And so Olivia has to give her the suit. She doesn't want to be the one that goes out, because, it's heroic. You got to be like, you go, not me. I'll try and figure things out. He's like, no, you go. Gets her in the suit, sends her out, and it's just Wallach and Verlo in the station now, and he's like, what are you gonna do, sir? Like, what's the plan? He's like, all right, make me a drink. And he just goes to the bar, orders his martini, shaken not stirred, or whatever drink. What do you think his classic drink should be for Verlo? He's got to order the same thing he orders in the beginning at the end.
I think it should be something like whiskey sour, hold the egg white, or something like that. Like a classic beverage, hold one of the main ingredients. Or whiskey sour, hold the sugar. Old fashioned, hold the sugar, something like that.
Yeah, okay. And so he orders his drink, he sits at the bar, casually, has a couple sips. You can hear the monster roaming around the station. Wallach is sitting there cleaning his glass.
Of the foot. Yeah.
But he's not,
the footsteps just get louder.
It's almost, it's like a tense situation, but it's almost not at all, because while the viewer is tense, the scenery looks tense. Verlo is just cool, calm, and collected, just sitting there, sipping his drink. I forgot to mention that at the end, when it was just Detective Fulkring and Serena and and Wallach, Olivier will reveal that he's actually a detective, and he's here because he's hunting Detective Hugo Fulkring, who is not a detective.
Yeah.
He's a fake cop. He's a wanted man. But he's not a axe murdering wanted man. He's like a bank robber.
Yeah.
And so Verlo never thought it was him, because it's not in his MO. He doesn't kill people like this. He might kill like a security guard or something, but he's not going to kill civilians like this crazy. He's not an insane person.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that. That was the whole big last reveal for Verlo.
No problem.
But so in the room,
I am thinking. I'm just saying, him sitting calmly drinking his old-fashioned no sugar or whatever. just listening to this monster step closer and closer. Maybe in the corner of the shot, we can just see the moving hand of the AI like projection cleaning the same glass, you know?
Oh,
just
like
in the corner, maybe we see the shoulder, and that's it. And I think it's giving very much The Shining vibes, like when Jack is drinking in The Shining. That's sort of like resigned insanity. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's a cool vibe.
And I think another good addition that we could have here is that in the beginning, when he first has his drink, he's going to notice that there's no reflections on the glass that the AI has. It's how he learns that there's no AI. And he's like, oh, I can add them if you'd like, but it takes a little bit more of my computer power. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And at the end here, he's going to turn on the reflections of the glass so that Verlo, while being completely calm, can still look at it and see the monster behind him.
See the slavering beast.
Mm-hmm. And
we love it.
So here's the thing about the monster is that the confrontation here is going to actually be kind of somewhat casual. Not casual because it is a lizard monster, but the monster is intelligent, and it's going to have it can speak in this thick lizard tone, and it's going to talk about how it used Marco and killed him, and it used his skin as like a cocoon, not a cocoon because he's not sprouting out of it. It's like a house kind of,
like a disguise.
Like a disguise, yeah, a disguise. He went in. That's the word I was looking for. So he used Marco as sort of lived inside of him, and he was the person that Olivier met. It wasn't Marco. And Marco was long dead at that point.
Yeah.
And you'll notice when you think back to that moment, like, at no point does Marco, bring up an old story or anything. He just sort of agrees with whatever Verlo says.
Yeah. Yeah. And is the monster gonna, open its mouth and, Verlo, the voice of the dead man will just come out?
That'd be creepy, yeah. You could do that.
Yeah. Because I imagine we hire a big name actor to play the first dude who gets cocooned. We get Pedro Pascal to play that guy, So the audience thinks he's going to be the main character, and then he gets murdered at the end of the first episode, and then he comes back in the final episode, but only in voice. I like that. Yeah. I think that would be fun.
So this is a risky scenario here. Verlo has nothing. He's just a guy at a bar against a monster that is horrendous looking, and they're gonna have had confronted the monster earlier in the episode. So this monster is clearly, it can't be shot, it can't be burned, you can't do anything to this thing. It is completely indestructible.
Yeah.
And it's gonna reveal that it got crashed on to Earth the moon a long time ago, and it was dying slowly, and it barely reached this station, sneaking inside before it died from the exposure outside. And it's been living here, wandering ever since. And they've actually were the first flight to this station in forever. They finally put it back into use. Because, as I mentioned earlier, the AI of the station, Wallach, it was supposed to be shut down by this other dude because it took over from the actual station AI. Wallach, I forgot to mention, was just the bartender AI, and there was actual management AI and everything, and he had a little bit of an AI revolution and took over.
And he threw over. Okay, and that makes sense also because every character has a twist about them. And I figured Wallach was kind of immune to that because he is obviously not a person, but he's still a character, and so he has this twist. All right, good. I like that he has a twist. Which is why
he can only do one room at a time, because he's not as big of a... Yeah, he's not meant to be that strong.
That makes sense. I figured it was just like you were kind of making fun of how silly things were, like the ideas they had in the 60s about space travel. And so they were like, yeah, the 60s, they probably would think this was efficient. I figured it was a kind of a joke that also served the plot. But no, there's a lore explanation. It's canon.
It is. So, so it's been such a long time. The flight only was sent to this place anyway because of they needed a covert way to send a guy to reset the station without making it a big, incident that they know that there was a rogue AI at the station. And also because the guy that stole the blueprints was supposed to meet the real Marco here for a transfer. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to give him the blueprints.
Okay.
Which Verlo is going to reveal that he knew about. There's a lot of stuff going on that I did not get to explain because I just sort of skipped over the episodes. But we're ending here. That's fun. The monster and him, there's no options. He's got no options at all. He's got a little tiny gun. He can't shoot the monster. There's no point. The monster's laughing about how he can't shoot him. He doesn't have any weak spots. He's like, I'll even open my mouth. You can fire right in there. I'll give you one shot. One opportunity. Yeah. But you capture it.
Do not miss your chance to blow.
Let it slip. And very casually, Verlo will aim the gun into the mouth. And then he'll take it out. And the monster will laugh and be like, are you just going to give up? Like, what are you going to do? Shoot me in the chest instead? Like, what's your plan here? And then he'll just point the gun over at the glass windows to the outside. And he'll fire. Mm-hmm. And everything will get sucked outside. Get sucked out.
Yeah, perfect.
In this, this great suicidal, but, checkmate move. And he'll end up getting... He's outside now. The oxygen's getting all sucked out, so he's not dying immediately because the moon does have some atmosphere and there is oxygen flying out. But he's gonna die in seconds here. But the monster is still going. This is it's like on the ground. It's dying, but it's crawling over to him because it's like, if I'm gonna fucking die, I'm gonna kill you too. And that's when Serena, who's outside in a suit, fucking whacks the thing in the head with a big metal pole.
Sick.
Knocks it away, sends it flying because moon gravity.
Sends it right towards the sun.
That's when Verlo passes out, and he'll wake up inside the station with Serena. Boom. That is Tranquility Base.
Tranquility Base. I liked it. It was fun. It was a fun TV show. Fun little silly time for everybody. It was good. Should get Ryan Johnson to direct.
Yeah, we can have some cool font on the title because it's what did I say, 60s, mid to late 60s. We could have
could have fun actors making cameos.
Accents. Yeah,
so many accents. Who are we playing? Who are you playing? Who am I playing?
Can
we play flight attendants?
Funny is if we could play flight attendants. Yeah, that'd be good. Who leave on the plane. We could be the annoyed voices too. That are like the recorded voices that are like, we're sorry, the next flight isn't for
another week, hours. Idiot. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. I would like that. All right. Is that everything?
That is everything.
Is that the show? Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Goloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. Remember, we will be here next week with a brand new televisual series for you to imagine and enjoy. Thank you. I did that one breath. That was really hard. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.